What's up, Raz Manites? As promised, it's time to review The Dark Knight Rises. Today, on the Raz Man's Reality. Okay, just very quickly, still not sure if I've gotten rid of all the flickering issues or not, so bear with me. I'm doing my best to get them gone. But I hope you all are enjoying the new camera, judging by your comments. Or actually, I haven't even seen your comments yet because I'm obviously filming this before the video went live. So I guess I should say that I hope by your comments on the episode that you're enjoying the new camera. Anyway, The Dark Knight Rises. Finally got to see it, so before I can start this review, of course, I want to observe a moment of silence for all those who were unfortunately taken from this world, be of the Colorado tragic shooting. So please let's observe a moment of silence, or silent prayer, whichever you prefer. Our hearts are with the victims. May they forever rest in peace. Now, what did I feel about the film? I have so much to say about this film. Not just because it's a Batman film, but because of how well it's done. So I want to warn you, if for any reason you haven't seen this film, when you're watching this review, watch at your own discretion, because this is going to be the opposite of what I normally try and do with cinematic reviews. I am not going to try to avoid spoilers now because I'm so late in the game getting this up and there's so much to say. So yeah, fair warning from this point, if you haven't seen the film, you're watching at your own risk. Film is surrounding a plot that combines the Arkham Asylum storyline with the storyline of The Dark Knight Returns, as well as the storyline of the Arkham series. Arkham Asylum, of course, is the video game, but it surrounds Bane, who has arrived on the scene 8 years after the end of The Dark Knight, and he is wreaking havoc on Gotham, and during the course of the film he takes out Jim Gordon, and Bruce Wayne is in the hospital with him under a smaller mask, and because he knows it's the Batman's voice, Gordon says to Bruce, Batman has to come back. If you remember from The Dark Knight, at the end, he went into recluse and was blamed for Harvey Dent's murder because he and Gordon agreed that the illusion of Harvey Dent was more important than the actual person that Harvey Dent is. So, this is 8 years in the future, and he has been gone and recluse both as a person and as Batman for 8 years. So Bane forces him out of retirement, and the whole film surrounds his correlation trying to become Batman again, his struggles as to whether or not he should do it, his viewing of the world, and his relationship with Bane. I don't know what to call it. It's not like kindred spirits like we saw with the Joker relationship, but it's more or less him seeing a lot of himself in Bane because of where Bane comes from. Bane was exiled from the League of Shadows, the organization that was of course ran by Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, They pronounce it Raz Al Ghul in the Nolan franchise, and of course that is a continuation from Batman Begins. But I believe I'm almost 98.9, or excuse me, 99.9% sure that it's Ra's al Ghul, because that's the way it was always pronounced in the animated series. But however you read it on the page, Ra's or Raz, it's the same person. So he was trained by him and was exiled from the League of Shadows. And obviously, when they figure out he was exiled from the League of Shadows, they know that this is a person that you can't mess with in any way, shape, or form, and you can't take lightly. And so he's returned all these years later to fulfill the work of Ra's al Ghul and destroy Gotham City. And I gotta say, just because I am such a Batman aficionado, a lot of you know that have been subscribed to me for a long time, I have been a part of Batman or read Batman for close to 30 years. I'm 32 years old, and the earliest memory I have was at 2 years old receiving my first Batman comic. So I am a pretty big authority on all things the man behind the cowl. As a matter of fact, now with this new camera, I can fully realize the potential of a series that I've been dreaming about since December 31st, 2008, when I debuted on YouTube, which is a series that really shows my knowledge of Batman and clears up misconceptions about Batman. So you can look forward to that series starting. My goal is to launch that series on my 4 years on YouTube anniversary date of December 31st, 2012. That's my goal. And that's the main reason why you haven't seen me do reviews on any of the other Batman films, because I wanted them to be a part of that series, but I didn't want to wait till December to review The Dark Knight Rises, because obviously everyone's chiming in with it, and there's a lot that needs to be discussed, so wanted to get it out there. Anyway, what I was getting at was, because I am so knowledgeable about Batman, I was a little bit skeptical when I found out that Bane was the main villain, following the phenomenal, life-changing, never to be duplicated again performance of Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight. I thought Bane as the main villain, because it was obvious from the trailer that Catwoman wasn't going to be a villain in the film. She was going to be a vigilante trying to do the right thing, trying to do what Batman used to do in her own way. And her and Batman, of course, were going to cross paths, and Batman was going to bring out the better side of Selina Kyle, which is exactly what happened in the film. So Bane was the only true villain of the story, or so the writers made you believe, but I'll get to that in a moment. But Bane was the main villain, and I was wondering, how are they going to do this? How are they going to pull it off? How are they going to make Bane work in this universe? And I should really just kick myself in the head, really, because Nolan's universe is so much more realistic than any adaptation, even more so than Batman the Animated Series, which was the most realistic Batman interpretation we'd ever seen on any screen anywhere. So knowing that, and knowing the way Nolan directs his films, and how much practicality there is, and how little CGI there is, and how big and epic a scope there is to everything that Nolan does, I should have automatically known how well Bane would work in this universe, because all they had to do was make him a realistic character. a character that was scarred because of what happened to him in Arkham Prison, and a character that utilized those scars to become the individual we see in the film. So it worked really, really well. He was a perfect person for Bruce at the point that Bruce is as Batman at this point of his life. And it was just an amazing, amazing film. Everyone in it was spot on. I can't remember all of the actors and actresses' names because of time constraints. I didn't have time to pull up IMDb before filming this because I'm filming this right after I filmed both the Logitech C920 review and the latest Handy Enterprises video. So I have to kind of quickly get this filmed so that I can have dinner and then render everything and get everything up by Wednesday starting for the week. So I'm not really rushing to do this, but I just wanted to do it while it was still fresh in my mind and not put as much detail in it. So bottom line is everyone in the film was amazing. I have nothing bad to say about the film. The thing that surprised me the most, other than Bane and the strength of that performance, was the strength of Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I mean, this is the girl that we knew from The Princess Diaries 1 and 2 and The Devil Wears Prada. She's never really done anything except romantic comedies and has never really had a chance to show, yeah. And the other one I forgot to mention was, of course, Ella Enchanted. That was a pretty big one as well. So, we never really got to see her in this kind of role where she's playing such a seriously troubled woman with so many layers. And Catwoman obviously is such a huge entity in the Batman universe, whether the interpreters interpret her as a straight out villain or a vigilante that's misguided and a love interest for Batman, as she has been in various incarnations and obviously was in The Dark Knight Rises. However you interpret her, she obviously is a huge, huge part of the Batman universe. And for this world, which was again the reality based world, so you couldn't really play into the whole thing of Selina is Catwoman because she believes she's a cat, because she has obsessions with cats. They couldn't really go into that in a realistic world because it wouldn't have made sense. So for the Catwoman that this Selina Kyle is in this universe, Anne Hathaway was beautiful in more ways than one. Absolutely nailed the performance. Absolutely, completely nailed it. So yeah, no quibbles whatsoever. If for any reason you were on the fence about seeing The Dark Knight Rises, you shouldn't be. Christian Bale nailed it again. Gary Oldman nailed it again. Michael Caine nailed it again. Michael Caine has so much more power and so much more depth to his performance in The Dark Knight Rises than he has in any other film, and he brought a tear to my eye. I'm not ashamed to admit it. He brought a tear to my eye, and the power of that moment when Alfred leaves Bruce because he feels like the only way to save his life is to have him lose everyone that mattered to him and make him realize that he does not need to be Batman anymore. That was such a wonderfully, amazingly powerful moment. It's just so hard to put into words. So yeah, he was amazing in the film. Nolan's direction was spot on. The cinematography was beautiful. The world was so believable. It's clear from just me talking and not actually watching the footage back even that this review isn't as in-depth as I thought it was going to be. There's clearly things that I'm leaving out. But bottom line is, You need to see this film. It was truly amazing. Sorry for any angle change there. I had to eat dinner before I could finish, but the reveal of Talia al Ghul, instead of her being Miranda Tate, she's Talia al Ghul. I thought that was incredibly well done. The relationship between her and Bane was so well told, and I think it would have been a nice surprise to anyone that didn't know the Batman world that she was Talia. So I think they handled that really, really well. And before I get into the ending, which I know that everybody focuses on and everybody's going to know my opinion on, I just wanted to quickly apologize. I watched the original raw footage back. I didn't realize that my head was off to the side almost the entire time. The reason that happens sometimes is because I have what we like to call CP shakes. My hands just start shaking and it just takes over my body and I don't realize where my head is looking. So, yeah, I apologize for that. But anyway, the ending. What do I think the ending means? Well, before we can talk about the ending, obviously we have to talk about the Robin, quote unquote, character. Now, understand that Dick Grayson was never introduced into this world. And I understand that the way that the story was going to end, it was going to be clear that it was the end of Batman's time in Gotham. So they had to figure out some way for the legacy to be passed on. So they created this cop character and they just gave him the name Robin and made it all kind of work. And he's obviously going to grow into being Nightwing, and I think we'll probably see some type of interpretation of Nightwing in the Nolan verse at some point. My problem with it is that they made Selena Kyle work, and in the Nolan universe they should have found a way to make Dick Grayson work. The young man who played the role was absolutely amazing and nailed it, and it was a very sympathetic character and I enjoyed the character tremendously. But I just couldn't get past the fact that this is not the real Dick Grayson. And when they just gave him the first name of Robin, I was like, that's such a cop out, because that's the secret identity name, not the birth name. So yeah, that really bugged me, and really, in my opinion, it took this film from being a 5-star film to a 4-star film. Just that one little quibble that sort of just didn't fall in line with the Batman history and the Batman universe. I know that I'm being contradictory because I just talked about how well Selena Kyle works in a different world, but that was just jarring and out of place to me. I didn't like it at all. So what does the ending mean other than the possibility of Nightwing? I think that Bruce and Selena are alright, and I think that they survived, and yeah, I think that the Nolan universe will continue somehow with Nightwing. That's my initial impressions. The more I see the film, my opinion might change. So I hope you all enjoyed this initial review. I watched the raw footage back and I know that I left a lot out, but I was just trying to get this out today while it's fresh in my mind, like I said before, so I may have more to say at a later point. Definitely, like I said before, we'll have more to say when I get the Blu-ray. Let me know what you all thought of the film in the comments down below, and again, God bless, and never forget the victims of the Colorado tragedy. This is reality according to the Raz Man, and Raz Man style. It's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.